Did we learn anything from this, Craig, that we didn't know already?
No. Well, I was going to say, we learned that they're still struggling.
Well, yes.
That Arteta is on the hot seat. I mean, 4-1's bad enough at home, albeit against, one of the two best sides in England. But after Jesus scored so early, I'm thinking this could be 7 or 8 here, and that's the last. I mean, it's bad enough taking a defeat home with you, but
I suppose someone would say, their heads didn't drop after conceding the early goal. They did get themselves back into it.
I'm sure there are some people out there who will try and pitch it as the players are really fighting for Arteta here, and it was a new goalkeeper, and he made mistakes. And
offside goal.
We got this, there was no VAR, and the Phil Foden goal was offside, so it would really only have been 3-1 if you look at the stats. No, look, he made changes. That was his choice. I know Stevie's got some thoughts on that. But in some ways, the way Arsenal are playing with this team have put even more pressure on Chelsea at the weekend. Because Chelsea must be looking at it thinking, how the hell can we not go to the Emirates, no matter what team he puts out, and beat them? Yeah. And that's what they need to do. So in some sense, they've been so bad, the pressure's all on Chelsea for the weekend.
A number of changes. Aubameyang, of course, a forced change. He's out injured. You take a look at it, Stevie. Was this the right thing to do, to rotate others?
Do you know, I think when you're in the middle of the kind of run that they are, where they desperately, not just for certain individuals, but for everybody at the club, they're desperate for a victory. I think you've got to play your best team. And forget this rotation, because, listen, if your best team isn't that great and you're going to rotate and put players in who are not as good as them, then guess what's going to happen? And you pretty much saw that tonight. Yes, they went in at half-time, this Arsenal side, at 1 each. How, I don't know, because it was men against boys. And then, of course, you don't play your first-choice goalie, you play the reserve goalkeeper, and he absolutely kills you. Comes back to haunt you, throws it in. And then normal teams, and particularly a team that's rotated, who are trying to force their way into a struggling 11 as it is, usually that's to kick up the backside in a cup competition to try and get back in the game, try and put some pressure on the opposition. Now, this Arsenal team, like the other Arsenal team, the first Arsenal team, just caved in. So, listen, I would have played the first team. Would it have made any difference? Probably not. But when you need a victory, you play the best players and the best team you can, in my opinion.
What gave them a springboard to confidence last year? FA Cup.
Yeah.
Right?
Hey, his cup record's great.
So it gave them Stevie was saying, it gave them a platform to work on things, to gain confidence. And when we were playing, and everything's all about rotation now, and I know the circumstances of the pandemic and the shot, I get all that, but they need to put a run together. They need confidence. And we were great believers in our era that if you're having a bad run in the league, you got in the cup competition, you played your strongest team, and then that's where you gained your confidence and your momentum from. And the other side of the coin is as well, if you're going to rotate, you've got to make sure you've got damn good players to come in. And you think about it, and I'm not blaming the goalkeeper here, but they sold a guy to Aston Villa, Martinez, who was superb for them and would have been, I say, a great backup for Leno. He was good enough to be keeping Leno out the side when Leno was injured. I mean, many people thought he should have been the number one the way he played, but at least he had that competition there, and he was bringing in a guy like that. Whereas now he's bringing in people that are incapable of probably getting in the first team, playing against Manchester City, who fielded a relatively strong side, and the end result was an embarrassment.
Stevie, it's huge now. These next 3 matches, I reckon, you could say, for Arteta. Chelsea, obviously, at the Emirates, and then Brighton and West Brom. What does he need to do from those 3 matches?
Dan, I'm sorry, Dan, that just sounds so wrong. And it's hard to argue that if he gets defeated badly in these 3 games, that he won't be out of a job. But I just think that wouldn't be the right thing to do. I just don't. I just think that the players he has aren't good enough, regardless of who's in charge of them. And I think it would be the wrong thing to do. The problem is, if you're Arsenal, do you just say, well, we'll just go along and get beat every week? Will we just do nothing? Will we just sit in our hands and pray and hope that something's going to change. Because generally when a team is as bad as this team is, the change usually kicks something in, gets them a few points. And that's bad news for Arteta. But honestly, Dan,
what have you seen
wrong
from Arteta which would suggest he could get them out of this slump?
He's won the FA Cup, Dan. He got a team, he got pretty much the same team to dig in and get some and win some games.
But that was
not just in the FA Cup.
That was an age ago now, it feels like. This is a team now sat 15th.
It certainly seems an age ago, but surely you have to give him a little bit more time to try and bring that back at the very least. It just feels wrong, Dan. It feels wrong.
Does it feel wrong?
Well, I mean, it's a dog-eat-dog business, isn't it? It's a multi-billion-dollar business these days, whether we like it or not. So I said to you upstairs, and I wouldn't be surprised, Brendan Rodgers' name, and he was linked with the Arsenal job before Arteta got it, when he had just left Celtic, and Leicester fans were apoplectic about the fact that Arsenal were sniffing around, and I think they were. I asked myself a question, and Rodgers is not everybody's cup of tea, but I actually think he's a very good manager, right, in what he does. And he's working with a squad he's working within a budget at Leicester, and they've got injuries, and he's still churning out results, and they play well and they perform well, and they've been good in the transfer market. And I look at Rodgers as a manager with his experience from where he's been at Swansea and others, in Liverpool and Celtic and Leicester, and I look at that squad, and I agree with Stevie that it's not the best squad, but would the Brendan Rodgers, with his experience and his type of football, get more out of that Arsenal side, and would they be looking further ahead down the road with a more positive mindset than where they are now? And I think the answer is yes. Right. I do think the answer is yes. And that's the problem there, that there are better managers out there that are capable of getting this bunch of players playing better. He's got the nous, he's got the experience, and that kind of job is not too big for him because he's been at big clubs. A heavy defeat at the weekend or a defeat against Chelsea, picking up no wins in the next 2 or 3 games, I think could see him out the door. It's too big a club to sit back and say, oh, everything will be okay, Arteta will come good and he'll get it right. It's too big a business these days.
Stevie?
It just sounds wrong. I
honestly can't sentimental fool. Why is it wrong for Arteta, but not others that have come in and gone?
Listen, first of all, I don't disagree with one word Craig said. I don't. But the one thing I've got, and I keep saying it, is whilst you've got this bunch of players, and yes, Leicester are doing well, but I mean, you know, Aubameyang's having a shocker, so Arsenal are having a shocker. If Vardy was injured, you took Vardy out of that team, it could change quite a lot. But
he's gone soft.
He has gone
soft. Gone soft.
I know.
What the hell's wrong with you, Nicol?
It just feels wrong. It feels wrong.
Oh, he's in a festive mood.
He's just sentimental.
He's in a festive old mood.
I tell you what, if he's coming to my house for Christmas dinner, that feels wrong. He's going to drink me out of house and home. He's not. But I know what he's saying. I know what Stevie's saying. But
you know what everyone is shouting right now?
Why are you talking about Solskjaer?
Why? Yeah, exactly.
I'm not.
Why are you all calling for Solskjaer's head, who is currently third in the table? Arteta's 15th. Yet you're getting all sentimental.
I'm not saying that.
Well, I'll tell you why. Because Manchester United have got some good players, and guess what? Arsenal don't.
But Arsenal have got players that could win the FA Cup.
How many Arsenal players? Here's one for you then, Clivy Clogs. How many Arsenal players get in the Man United team? There you go. Silence. So there's your answer.
I don't think it's as simple as that, is it, Stevie? Because
because it doesn't suit you.
No, because is Arteta getting the best?
No Arsenal
is Arteta getting the best out of this squad?
Player. No, you're the one that brought up Ole Gunnar and Man United.
Yes.
If there's no Arsenal players getting Man United's first team, then do I need to add any more?
So you're saying that no matter who is in charge of this team, 15th is fine because the players are so bad?
I never said it was fine either. I just said it feels wrong that you're going to get rid of a guy so quickly when he's come in with with a squad of players that weren't good enough to start with, and he got a tune out of them to begin with, and it's not happening now. And then you're just going to get rid of him for some other guy, regardless of how good Brendan Rodgers may or may not be. The outcome, in my opinion, seems as though without a huge overhaul of players, the outcome's going to be the same as what's happening now.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPNFC 7 days a week, subscribe to ESPN+.